Hi, if you are new to this channel, or in case you forgot, my name is Teresa, and today we're going to talk about So Let Them Burn. I finished this book a couple of weeks ago, but I'm not gonna lie, it disappointed me, and I have gotten a little bit distracted by some other creative endeavors and just trying to get out of the small little reading slump that it put me in. But I am ready to talk about it, so let's just go. So Let Them Burn is a Jamaican inspired fantasy for young adults, and it's queer. It slightly features dragons. It's told in a dual POV. It's told in a dual POV with the perspectives being from two sisters. I will try to keep this as non-spoilery as possible. I'm not going to pull up any notes or do any quotes for this one just because I don't feel like it. Sorry. In the beginning of the book, I was super hopeful for what was to come. It seemed like it was going to explore the loss of childhood due to war and occupation, but it didn't quite get there. The three biggest characters, well, there's four, but the love interest of Alara, I feel, was not explored really enough. In the beginning, it's just three of them, and that's Farron, who literally became the sign of hope for her people at the ripe age of 12, and we're following up 5 years later with her and her sister, Alara. Alara is dealing with older sister syndrome, where she feels like she has to constantly be there for her sister while also trying to get out from the long shadow that her sister casts. And then we have Reeve, who is the son of the head of state of the country that was oppressing them. He turned against them, not in this book, but prior to the happenings of this book. He realized he had to do something about the injustice that was going on, and now he doesn't fit in with his old life or his new life on the island. In the beginning, we are given hints as to what happened 5 years previous, which is when Farron became what is known as the Child Empyrean, where the gods chose to channel their power through her. And we're given snippets of that. She was a big part in the war. It's very much alluded that without her, they would not have won their freedom, which is a lot for a 12-year-old. We are also given snippets of how the magic on the island works. It's an ancestral type of magic where they call upon their ancestors and powers are channeled through them. There is also dragon magic from the Langley Empire that is sort of explored. All of it is sort of explored in the book. And basically, Farron, Alara, and Reeve are called to the capital of the island because the queen is gathering a summit with the other nations to display their own power to dissuade anybody from trying to take their island from them. And when we're in the capital, we see that it's still in various stages of rebuilding. And again, there is this glimpse of potential of what this book is going to explore, which is just the trauma of war. So while they are rebuilding, there's this hope, the fire and bloodshed they experienced in the capital during the war. This cut between kind of alluding to what happens in the war 5 years ago and just things that are happening in the present, this buildup makes the pacing really odd. And compared with some other things that the author does in this book, it makes me feel like the better story that could have been told was the events that happened 5 years ago. For the actual craft of storytelling, unfortunately, there was just a lot of over explaining. For example, something would be insinuated in the text, and then the next few sentences and the next lines of dialogue would have to explicitly spell out what that insinuation meant. And I felt like it was a disservice to the audience as a whole, feeling like they wouldn't get it unless it's super explicitly stated. So I wasn't a huge fan of that. That was a big issue that I had with this book. We also actually see so little of action happening in this book. Farron is supposed to work with the gods. We see it a little bit in the beginning where she channels their spirits to win a race, and she's supposed to be using it to figure out this way to break the bond between her sister and this dragon. Yes, there's dragons in this book, but do not get excited because there's not much that goes on with them. And she's supposed to be working with the gods and this other god-ish character, but we don't see that. We always pick up in the story right after she's been training with them or speaking with them, so it's a little bit disappointing. Reeves doing research, and we actually don't get to see any of the stuff that he reads or like things that he has found out, and it's just a lot of talking about how they're doing these things but not actually seeing them do these things. And Alara is at a dragon school, and we do not get to see her take classes. We don't get to see what student life is like at this dragon school. We don't get to meet many dragons. It's so frustrating. It's particularly frustrating because I felt like there was such potential here. I thought the world building was a solid start. The descriptions of the island were so vibrant. I got a real feel of what the author was going for. The characters do have interesting dynamics. I totally got where both of the sisters were coming from, how they felt. They were very interesting, but not a lot was done with them, unfortunately. And there were parts of the ending that I liked, but I felt the execution of it all was overall lacking. I might read the sequel. Probably not, though, because I don't know exactly where she is going to go from here. I rated it a 2, which on my rating scale is it has a lot of potential, but it didn't hit for me. I had to think really hard as to what I would compare this to in regards for recommendations. If you read this and liked it, or if you read any of the ones I'm about to mention, then these might be a good match for you. I think if you liked Six Crimson Cranes, Furyborn, or The Wolf, or These Violent Delights, then you should check out So Let Them Burn, or vice versa. If you liked So Let Them Burn, check out these other books. Similarly to So Let Them Burn, I thought These Violent Delights had a lot of potential. It didn't hit for me. For The Wolf, I liked. I gave it 3 stars. If you're looking for interesting sibling dynamics, then that and Six Crimson Cranes really work for it. And then Furyborn, I cannot say why I think you should read this if you have not, but it has similar elements. Both of them have similar elements in regards to 2 of the characters. And that's my review. I think I'm going to be doing all of my reviews from that previous cake rain video that I made. I believe they should all be about this long and should cover the same breadth of details. Thank you for listening. Let me know your thoughts on So Let Them Burn down below, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye!